Hey, I'm about to go to class, but I just want to make this video real quick. A lot of people out there that want to get started programming, but they just don't ever get around to it. And I was at that point. I was at that stage at one point. However, I kind of built the habit of coding, and well, I'm not an expert in any way, but I did manage to, code a lot and really get into the habit of it. And so I just want to share my experience of how somebody can, get into the habit of coding. And first of all, I just want to start out with, whenever you get into coding, you always hear these stories about these people who are so passionate from day one, and they just sat in front of the laptop and they just never lost motivation, and they just did it and they just love it endlessly, and they just have like no like unlimited motivation. Well, there are certainly people out there like that, but I just want you to know that that's not usually what happens. You know, to be honest, while I was coding, 95% of the time, I didn't even feel like doing it. Like, it was a rare time when I felt motivated to code and wanted to code, but I just did it anyway because, first of all, I had built the habit, but I knew that I had to do it to get better. So don't really think that it's bad that you're not motivated or you're not immediately like it just doesn't immediately click, because once you start coding and once you kind of learn like what to do and how to code, you'll start finding things that you like better slowly and slowly. But it's going to take a long time, and you're going to have to be very patient, and it's also going to grow on you. Um, as you meet people who also code, as you make friends, things are more fun. Everything's more fun when you work on it with friends, right? So, it'll that'll make it more fun by itself. And you know, like it's you don't have to it's okay to start late too. I always thought when I was even though I'm so young, I'm like 18, I always thought that, I should start, cuz you always hear about these prodigies that start when they're young. I felt like I was too old to start coding, but in reality, it's never really too late. Like you can't if you think about it by that logic, you would never learn anything new because you should have started when you were young, right? But you can't, like when you're young, you don't really have much of a, or at least most people don't really have much of a direction in life, and that's okay because you're finding that direction now. And as you're learning skills is a skill in and of itself, so it's okay to not know everything. You can't have every skill since you're young. You have to, as you become an adult, develop new skills. So there's no shame in starting late in coding at all. um and to be honest, like um what was I gonna say? Honestly, if you don't like coding because you're in school right now and you find it boring, well, to be honest, I didn't like coding when I was in high school either. I hated coding when I was in high school. I thought to myself that I never wanted to touch a computer again because I just worked on the most boring stuff, and I didn't really like my teacher, and I just didn't like what I was doing. And I want you to know that that's okay, because in school, you just work on boring stuff. Like, you're not going to want to do that. But like coding doesn't have to be that boring. You can work on cool stuff and work with cool people, and it can get more fun. Um, so just because you're in school and the stuff you're doing is boring, like I still don't like the assignments I have to do in school right now, and so it's not really not that big of a deal because it's just good. It's like school is just boring, like for everyone. I've never met a person who loves to do their school assignments, so don't really stress about that too much. Um, Also, when you're trying to build a habit, don't like when you're trying to build a habit, you don't have to like rush all into it and just go full force with it immediately. Like you can just start like little by little. Like when I first started coding, I coded like 2 hours a day, which is still like a lot, I guess. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, but you can just do like half an hour a day, like just to get started. Like it's really just about repetition and just getting like, into the motions of it. It's you don't have to start doing like it. You don't have to start doing it 8 hours a day, like off the jump. You really don't. So don't worry about that too much. And you know, one thing that I've heard that really resonated with me is that, you know, I haven't really tried this yet, but you know, the best way to grow is through positive community, right? Surround yourself, make friends with people who have, if you want to get interested in something, make friends with other people who also have that interest, who you genuinely enjoy being around. So it might help you to also find friends that like to code so you can work with them, and that'll make, and friends who you genuinely like to be around, and you can work with them, and that would make coding much more enjoyable.